A new video emerged of the Afrobeat star Davido, the governor's nephew, having a lighthearted moment with FCT Minister Nyesom Wike in Abuja. Now, in this clip, Davido accompanies his uncle, the governor, to meet the FCT minister, jokingly telling him that he beat the minister's side in the recent elections. Let's take a look.
You can't say that. No. I won. I beat you guys.
No, you beat us.
I beat you guys.
No, you beat us.
I beat you guys. Okay.
Wow, I mean, what a cheery moment. We'll recall that Governor Adeleke secured 511,000 plus votes to defeat the APC candidate last weekend, with this moment emerging like, a bit of a victory lap. But another layer in all of this is that, remember, Governor Adeleke was a member of the PDP, and you can see that camaraderie really stay clear in that clip. And I'll take one quick reaction from Victor on Leke, who says, Governor Adeleke has gone to meet President Tinubu as he promised, presented his certificate of return to him. This Imole is really committed to working for Tinubu's re-election, but I don't know if Davido will eventually change his mind and decide to support Tinubu. But meanwhile, a viral video has also emerged of an elderly man from Osun State warning the governor not to declare that Osun people will vote for the president. Now, the clip is making the rounds on social media, with the elder making it clear that Adeleke won, like Rufai said, because he served the people. Let's take a look.
Osun State. Party before you get up. 30 Jawe Olubori, Nicolon was a job permanent, everybody the batty. I'm not to know Budokan Balepe, he was so target presidential election. I've had the general is the Kevin Lokapanepe, almost all people for you say, what was the same governor, Senate president, or the national chairman, Bobo, and when you walk to no, almost only Cosona. I once say a Thanksgiving speech. I once saw what you know, but the terrorist is saying. Almost sorry. I want more Lord people phone. He said, what he no mu in the po. He said, what you not tell and never to buy the quarter to buy this halfway. Agbára yín ọ̀ka pé kí gbogbo ọmọ Ọ̀ṣun ká dìbò ẹ mass fún Tinubu. Agbára yín ọ̀ka ẹ má lọ gbowó lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀rẹ̀ yín o. Tí nìkan ni ó di o.
Ayo, these are powerful words. The message is simple. A governorship victory is not a blank check to make political promises on behalf of an entire people. They're still feeling the economic pain of this administration, and you can't essentially speak for an entire state.
Okay, so there have been different positions on this, and I recall when we had the representative of the governor on the morning show on Tuesday, I'd asked the same question, that it felt like to some people was a betrayal of the people's mandate to now attribute the success and support, consequently support the president. This is politics, like Rufai said before. And the governor himself had said, even before he won the elections, he had spoken up in support of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I do not want us to lose the fact that the success of this election was kudos to the people. And this is where we'll begin to see politics and election cycle work for Nigerians, when the people take up the mandate and take responsibility for the success of any candidate. When this happens, there's more accountability. You can come out to speak like this because you know what you did to ensure that the candidate won the elections. And so that it's not just one godfather, one person who is pulling the strings and dictating to the candidates in question. Because if Governor Adeleke is not careful, if his actions upset the Osun State people who voted him in, they'll revolt.
Right.
And he is there on the basis of the mandates of the people. We saw it. We saw the reports where people stood and defended him, where people stood and defended his votes. We had an analysis earlier on where we saw how people voted, who had traditionally voted APC or who were not even voting Accord Party in 2022, came up strong to vote for Governor Adeleke because they believed in his mandate. This is the office of the citizen. I've often talked about how it is the most important and I dare say powerful office in the land, and the people should continue to speak out. Vote whomever you choose, but let your votes count. And it can only count if you come out to vote, and then you have the right to come out and say that we are holding you to account because we put you there, and therefore we ask for accountability.
Absolutely. Exactly. I mean, it's a symbiotic relationship between the people and who is in charge, who's leading them, essentially, which takes us into our next story. Because a lot of reactions are coming out online, spurred by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who's now done a major U-turn, saying in a new interview that if elected as president in 2027, he would restore the petrol subsidy. Now, Atiku made these comments on Wednesday, and it's not that he's against the subsidy removal. He just wants to know where all the money's gone. Let's take a look.
Musu ga wannan cire tallafi ba, amma ina kudin suka, ina suke. Ai da ya kamata a ce, ai kudaden da aka samu an yi maganin talauci, an yi maganin rashin zuwa makaranta da sauransu, amma ina kudaden, ai sace su ake yi.
To wataƙila kai nasara za ka mayar?
Shi tallafin. Kuma duk wani wanda ya sace kudi zai mayar.
Idan ka dawo da tallafi na man fetur misali.
Now, the controversy surrounding these comments has to do with the fact that the former vice president clearly stated during a 2022 interview here on Arise that he would remove the fuel subsidy if elected during the last race. And of course, we know the internet has a great memory. Let's play that clip.
Let's talk about your manifesto. Looks like the subject of removal of subsidies conspicuously absent in that manifesto. Is this an oversight? Even if it is not.
It's not an oversight, but I thought Nigerians have now come to accept my position on the issue. It is inevitable that it has to happen. I believe through negotiations again with the organized labor and also other sectors of the economy, that policy should resume and be completed.
From 2022 to 2026. Well, later on Thursday, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was quick to fire back at the former vice president. Speaking during his meeting with Adeleke, Tinubu flat out said that Atiku's position reflects, quote, serious ignorance. Let's take a look.
I saw one of my opponents now say he will go back to subsidy. I read it. That is demonstration of a serious ignorance on governance and economy. Before I came here, 27 states are unable to pay salaries. Not to even talk of pensioners, the salary of workers.
Vimbai, this conversation is fascinating because it exposes just how much political tension exists around this whole subsidy debate. On the one hand, people who want it removed see it as a waste of money, unsustainable, while those in favor of it say it benefits most Nigerians. But this whole debacle also highlights the fickle nature of political rhetoric, where what you say today can come back to bite you 4 years later. And before I take your reaction, I'll take some from the people online. MK says, if the subsidy is restored, Nigerians deserve to know how it will be funded. If subsidy funds were misappropriated, those responsible should be held accountable. The real test is whether policy can deliver cheaper costs without recreating corruption of the past. Michael, strong words from him. I am 100% against this, and Atiku just lost whatever small respect I had. Restore the subsidy, the same subsidy that NNPCL used to claim 3 trillion naira every year without audit, the same subsidy that marketers chop and middle class with 2 SUVs enjoy while the poor man in the village uses kerosene. Atiku wants to be president in 2027, and his big idea is to bring back the biggest scam in Nigeria's history. This is an insult. Yes, life is hard, but the answer is not to bring back fraud, fix the refineries, make Dangote work, make CNG buses actually run, raise the minimum wage to real money, don't reopen an ATM for thieves. I will not vote for anyone who wants to restore the subsidy. Never, 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 never. Strong words from Michael. I mean, that tweet stood out to me, but your take on all of this.
Yeah, I mean, the debate is on, right? As we said yesterday, let the games begin. One interesting direct translation from the video of Atiku Abubakar's interview was that he referred to Talakawa, which is Hausa for commoners. So it goes to tell you that this is a message not directed to maybe we here, but it is a direct communication of the fact that the northern vote, or the northern common man's vote, is certainly one that's going to be fought for quite hard. And many people feeling that Atiku Abubakar is potentially playing the role of a spoiler in this election, when as much as the constitution doesn't have a prescription for it, but the gentleman's agreement is that it's a turn of the South. So if he's appealing to the North through this kind of proposed reform, it's interesting to see what impact that will make. Having said that, now looking at the actual issue of subsidy itself, I said something earlier, which is that when we are talking about subsidy, there are several things that we need to look at, which is that how efficient has it made the economy? It has eroded people's incomes and people's purchasing power, without a doubt. However, we see that in the context of the oil sector, oil and gas sector itself, which is one of the key drivers of the economy, we've seen that the PIA has generated a huge amount of income and revenue for the indigenous players. I call them the IOCs as well, because forget IOC meaning international, it now means Indigenous Oil Companies of Nigeria. However, before we start looking at changing the system, have we made sure that the current modalities on the ground are actually efficient? The NUPRC says production has gone up. We're able to meet our domestic crude supply obligations. But what are the issues? Most of the refineries can't even pick up that oil because there are so many bottlenecks with regards to excess costs, and so it's too expensive for them. So some might argue and say that, well, isn't it better for us to make sure that we streamline the process as opposed to us allocating another big amount of money that we may not be able to fully account for to a subsidy? If that budget exists, can we put it towards a social safety net for the people whose incomes have been eroded, so that we can all start to feel the cushioning effects that are supposed to exist in the economy? The sort of corrupt tendency to be corrupt around subsidy is clear. So why don't we try a different formula of saying, let's invest this money in some sort of mechanism that can directly impact people? Cash transfers also haven't worked. So now it's up to all the political minds in the room to propose what that direct impact on our pockets will look like.
Exactly. Such a big story. So